Hello friends, Lee here from TableTop Bong. Thanks for joining me. In this video, thought we'd hang out, have a sesh, and talk about fake it till you make it. I want to speak about fake it till you make it and imposter syndrome today. I've had a personal experience in my life that has brought me to this conversation, to a little bit of research, and I'm really feeling compelled to have a conversation about this with you guys. So I thought, you know what, let's just have a cool sesh and let's just talk this one out. I think it's a pretty interesting conversation if we just sit in it for a few minutes, and I think that there's enough positive to come from this to make it worth your time and mine. So I thought let's just do it. Let's have a fun sesh, and we'll talk this out. So fake it till you make it / imposter syndrome. Okay, they're sometimes being seen together, and imposter syndrome I think is by definition can be looked at two different ways, and I don't think that it's being portrayed that way. So I wanted to break this out, and I wanted to talk about this for a few minutes, because if we accept some of these things, some of these catchphrases and what they mean as they come at us, and they do come at us very, very quickly in the world today, right? Something like this, you hear imposter syndrome, and then you hear the tagline that it is bad, and you don't know what it is, and then you hear the definition of it, you already have a preconceived notion that whatever the information is a negative thing. So sometimes these things can sneak by and become our belief system if we don't look at it with a discerning mind as it comes up. So I'm here to just kind of, think about it like this, like stick a stick in the spokes of a passing bike to just dead stop here for a second. And let's talk about this one. Let's not let this one sneak by. And let's see what it means, and let's define this. Let's spend a moment or two with it, and we'll have a good sesh. I'm going to rip with my Mighty Plus today, and I'm using a sort of homemade water pipe adapter, including this Planet of the Vapes add-on that allows you to use, bubblers and things like that. I have a 3D cooling stem in there. Then I'm using a whip hose water pipe adapter, along with, this is actually a short Dynavap water pipe adapter, which makes a nice straight connector to the TableTop Bong. I'm running 5-arm tree in my walnut TableTop Bong today. I'm using the 5-arm tree just because I'm looking for diffusion and kind of a slow, lazy experience. This isn't about, the biggest clouds and getting fully blasted. This is more just about hanging out and having this conversation, and a couple of bowls along the way. Speaking of which, let's do that right now. I'm gonna load this up. So let's get in and let's talk about this for a minute, because this one is interesting. It's a bit of a funny one, and here's why I think that. Basically, the way I understand, when I, just went to Google and searched what does imposter syndrome mean. So basically, what it means is if you have to get uncomfortable, like let's say you start a new job. And your first day on the job, and let's say, I don't know, let's take so it's your first day on the job, and you have to do the same task as other people who has been doing the job, for a period of time that you don't know, but you know that they've been doing it for a long time, or long enough to have some mastery of the skill, and you have no mastery of the skill. You have no skill set whatsoever. So now the idea being here, the imposter syndrome, what this is that you do not have the confidence to do this task as well as everybody else doing this task. So you're an imposter, you don't have the mastery or the confidence. So if you happen to be successful in any way, you're going to feel like that was good luck and that you didn't deserve it. Okay, so this is, kind of by definition what they're saying about imposter syndrome. Okay, let's think about this for a minute. Let's just not let that slip by, right? Because if you hear imposter syndrome is bad, and then you hear anytime you have to do something that makes you uncomfortable to gain mastery of something, that equals imposter syndrome. And then imposter syndrome is bad. Let's close this loop for a minute and look at what does that actually mean if you tie those two separate pieces of information together, which eventually in your mind has to get tied together because it's just how we work. I'm running the Mighty at 400 degrees Fahrenheit today. for a nice kind of middle of the road experience, right? So if we think about this now, the only way we can manifest the things that we want in our life, it's going to require some discomfort. It's just gonna. That's how this works, right? So now if we go back to the loop, anytime you have to be in a situation you don't have the same amount of confidence as everybody else, and you're uncomfortable to gain mastery, you're being an imposter. Imposter is bad. To manifest, we have to get uncomfortable and we have to pretend we have mastery of some skill or something, or that we've received the thing that we already want. The whole thing in manifesting is that we need to energetically do some pretending, right? That's how we set the vibration of ourselves to achieve something or to bring something, to manifest something. It's a vibrational thing. So the only way to set your vibration to the thing appropriately is through different exercises of discomfort, right? Think about it. If you want to be an Olympic swimmer, how will you become an Olympic swimmer without being an imposter? You're going to have to go to the pool. You're going to have to stand there and you're going to have to get in the water and you're going to have to pretend you know how to swim like an Olympic swimmer so that you can do it over and over and over and over until you can do it like an Olympic swimmer, right? This is manifesting 101. It is the basics of how manifesting works. But if you can't get uncomfortable because it makes you an imposter, that's going to create a layer of resistance. Resistance stops manifesting dead in its tracks. What we need to do then, the whole point, the reason, the way we get our vibration set is to discover the things that are stopping us from manifesting the thing that we want. It's all part of a balance, right? We have parts of our mind and our energy that don't feel like we deserve or we're worth this thing. We have to become worth it to receive it. We have to pretend long enough. We have to convince ourselves. We have to do the self-work to believe that we can receive the thing so that we can pretend we've already received the thing and then we receive the thing. This is how it goes. Sometimes it can take a day, sometimes it can take a minute, sometimes it can take years. Depends on how big and lofty your goals are. What are you trying to manifest? If you're trying to manifest the life of your dreams, do you think that that can ever happen without being an imposter? Of course not. Of course not. I mean, I sit before you making this video. I can't be here if I didn't get uncomfortable in the beginning. I had to be an imposter. I had to pretend to be somebody who was comfortable on camera to make videos so that I could become comfortable on camera to make videos. It only took me about 150 or 200 videos to get to that level of comfort. Maybe even more than that, to be completely honest. But the point is I just continued to be the imposter and accepted that that's what I needed to do and accepted that it would be uncomfortable. And eventually, when I had the feeling of complete confidence or very close to complete confidence, and I could see the contrast and I could see the balance from all of that discomfort, now I have this new skill set that can help me become the person I want to be, doing the things I want to do on the journey that I'm on. But if I never challenged that, if I didn't take that step, I couldn't be here making this video today. I wouldn't be able to manifest anything in my dreams if I didn't become the imposter. So when these concepts come up, we have to challenge them at least a little bit. Okay, now there are times we are pushed into things in life because of life's circumstances. Okay, I understand that that is a part of life for many, many people that you feel like there is no choice in the things you're doing and you're forced to be an imposter. All right, I'm not talking about that today, okay? That is a completely different thing. But that really, I don't know that the starting point for that is the feeling of being the imposter versus what's happening in your life that has you in those circumstances to begin with, and what discomfort do you have to face to get out of that circumstance, and why aren't you doing it? And what's the price of staying there? That's always, for me, the way I start to look at stuff like that. But in the meantime, we're not talking about that today. We're talking about the fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it has been truly my secret to success in times when I don't know what to do. And what that means, there are many times along the way I've been unsure how to move in my progression of, how I want to progress through my life to the manifestations that I want. I've been unsure what to do. So I've looked outside of myself and I've asked the question, has anybody done it before? Has anyone at all done what I want to do or something exceedingly similar? Has that ever been accomplished before? And if it has, by whom? Once I know who did that, then I start to look at the model of how they did that, right? I'm going to be an imposter. I'm going to follow that other person's path until I get far enough along that my own path begins to emerge again. But if I stay still, if I'm afraid to be the imposter and I don't know what to do next, I'll never manifest the thing that I want. So if I emulate somebody who's already done it, if I become by choice an absolute imposter as part of my strategy to keep myself moving in my manifesting, think about it for a minute. How empowering is that? We can be an imposter by choice and have it really, really help us. I have taken that particular road a number of times. It's not always the easiest road in the world to, create tremendous things and to live the life of your dreams. But the roadmap exists somewhere out there. If it's ever been done before, the information probably exists of how. Right? People are really awesome in that sense. When people accomplish great things, the average person feels compelled to share that information with other people so that they can do the same thing, because it's understood, there's enough abundance and there's enough of everything in the world. If you manifest something because you're brilliant at your manifesting, you're not taking away from somebody else. That's the whole point I'm trying to get to. There's enough to go around for everybody who gets their manifesting dialed in without any problem. I mean, everybody is manifesting 100% of the time. It's just, what are the things in your experience, right? But we're all always manifesting. We know that. I mean, come on, we know that. Let's load one more bowl, shall we? So I want to just talk about now, how do we face this, right? Like, what do we do when we're uncomfortable? How do we stay in that discomfort? Because this is something that I've had to really examine and really get to know really, really well. I have big dreams, so I am 100% focused on my goals. That is everything in my life is, this journey that I'm on, and I stay on it all day, every day. That's just the way it rolls, because I know that's how I will manifest the life of my dreams. I have to put extraordinary effort forth if I want an extraordinary result. So I understand the balance and all of that. So I'm down with it. That's cool. But it doesn't mean that it isn't difficult. And it doesn't mean, that it's not painful. There are times it's very painful. So here's my secret to this. I've grown to understand one truth that keeps me motivated beyond any other thing. I know pain is temporary. It might last. It might last a minute. It might last a day, a week, a month, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. You never know how long pain will last. But if you're chasing your dream and you're living your life true to your purpose, and there's pain along the way in your manifesting journey, there's only one way that pain will ever be permanent. And I learned this thing, so I really want to share this with you guys. If you quit, the pain is permanent. If you keep going, when it's hard, the pain is temporary. That is probably one of the biggest things that I have learned about manifesting and the discomfort and the fake it till you make it and being the imposter. It all comes down to that. If I quit, the pain will last forever. If I keep going, it's temporary. I remind myself of this every time I'm faced with a challenge. And it really helps me move through that energy as quickly as possible. Sometimes I have to remind myself for a day, 2 days. Who knows? Depends on how big the discomfort is, right? But if I stay on that thought, on that thread, when things get challenging, it really does give me the path to move through. And it can for you too. I mean, it's not exclusive to me, right? This is just something that I've learned through trial, error, and a fairly good amount of failure and a little bit of success. So I've really paid very close attention to the things that I have managed to do that have created success. So I'm always looking to repeat a formula that's successful, of course, right? And this is definitely what I've learned to create a repeatable formula that does something positive for me is just that simple understanding. If you keep going, you'll get past the painful part. You'll get past it. And the pain was temporary. You stop without completing it, without the success. It's going to last forever inside you some way, somehow. That imprint, that energy, it's going to be pretty hard to shake. You can deal with it. You can work through the feelings, no problem, but it's still always going to be there, right? That's just kind of how these things work. So I just wanted to jump on. I wanted to sit in that conversation and just talk this through with you guys, because I really think it's important that, we're looking at the information we take in and what it means before we accept it. Because some of this stuff, as well-meaning as it may be when it's put into the world, may not always have the best outcome. So I just wanted to sit in that with you guys and have a good sesh today. Thanks very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this and got something out of it. If you did, please hit that like and subscribe button. Until next time, take care.